Before we begin, the views and experiences shared in this episode are those of our guest and are shared for discussion and awareness only. Battlefront 511 podcast does not independently verify guest claims. Listener discretion is advised, as this episode contains discussion of abuse and other sensitive topics. Hello, Battlefront fans. This is your host, Caleb. Alongside me is my co-host, Missy.
Hello.
And today we interviewed Amanda. Amanda, her handle on TikTok is at a golden way. She gives us her testimony today.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. It's pretty heavy.
Very, very good testimony. But yeah, it's very deep.
Heavy.
Has a lot of let's say abuse in it. So I guess we should probably give a little bit of a viewer discretion.
Yeah.
On this one as well. I was just scrolling through TikTok and it popped up, and she had some advice on narcissism, and which is crazy because our last episode was on narcissism, which that was not meant to happen. But she wanted to just share her testimony. So this is the first time that she's ever shared her testimony.
And it makes you understand why she's growing so much on TikTok, because she has so much wisdom on abusive behavior and narcissism. And so if there's anybody that's dealing with any of that and, any situation, it might be good to listen to get some understanding, and that people can come out on the other end.
So again, her handle is at a golden way. We will put that in the description below. Again, our link tree will be down there as well. If you guys want to give, this month we are giving to missions. So anything that is given through the cup of coffee will go to missions. And again, any other donations that we get, we will be putting toward newer equipment just to make this podcast a little bit better too. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and let's cue the music and let's get going.
All right, Amanda, we are going to today, we get to walk through, and you get to talk to us about your testimony today, which I'm very excited to talk to you about. But I guess we need to start then from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's start with, your background.
I grew up rural South Alabama. Grew up with a stepfather that was a very hateful man, abusive verbally, mentally, physically to my mother, verbally to me. That is a story all in itself when it comes to the stepfather.
Wow.
A little bit later on in life, we moved. My mother divorced. We moved just a little ways down the road. That is where I remember going to church mostly, was to the Assembly of God church. Went there, had a good community there, good leadership, really enjoyed it. We weren't wealthy at all, on the poor side.
Yeah.
And I remember there was having a reunion there, a revival, I'm sorry. And I remember wanting this black t-shirt. It was some kind of Christ t-shirt. And I asked my mom, and she's like, well, how much is it? And, we didn't have the money for that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, it's about $15 or $20. And I remember her sneaking me that money in order to get that t-shirt. I'll never forget it. She was like, just don't say anything. We would go to the Bible camps during a church camp during the summertime. There was people within the actual church that would donate and pay for kids to go. So I remember going there, and I think that was up North Alabama. I went a few years in a row there. I really enjoyed that. For one, we were able to escape life at home, because not that my mother was a good mother. She provided. It's just she had a real poor choice in men. So at this point in my life, I believe Dan would have been there and was a great man until he got to drinking, and he would binge drink, and then he became verbally and physically abusive to my mother. He never abused any of the girls. I have two other sisters. We were fine. We just heard it, and when you're fighting a man to get off of your mother, it was wild.
Yeah.
It was a wild ride there for a while. So church was actually a place for us to escape.
Do you feel like you believed in God with all the turmoil going on at home? Did you have a connection? Like, was there a relationship there, or were you just kind of going through the motions?
Well, I would probably say I believe that I had a relationship. I would say it may be probably both. Going through the motions as well as the escape and a safe haven. So I would say, there was a relationship there. But I would say it was also an escape for us as well. So kind of both.
Wow. So were you was your stepfather around your whole childhood, through up until high school, or no?
No. David, which was my sister's dad, both of my sister's dad. He was there until I believe I was in like the 4th grade because this is wild. We were actually going to move to South Carolina after my mother divorced him, and he set our car on fire the night before
Oh my
we were
goodness.
going to leave. Yeah, and burn our car to the ground.
Wow.
So I remember him being around from I would have been a toddler or maybe an infant. I don't recall. I just know I was real small when my mother met him. We lived to Texas, Florida, different places there with him. I remember coming home one night from the babysitter's house, and after my mother divorced him, there was a church just across the road from our home,
Mhm.
and he was there waiting for us to come home. So my mother was dating Dan at this point, and we pulled into park and go in. We always use the back door to go in, and David comes up, and needless to say, he was cussing, fussing,
Mhm.
fighting. And I remember my mother telling me to get out to go in the house, to call the police. And he come up to that car door and he said, "If you get out of that car, I'm going to kill your mother." And he kicked the door in on me.
Wow.
So that night, he actually chased Jack down the road with a knife. It was just a whole big ordeal. So Dan would have come along around the 4th grade after David was gone at some point.
Man, already I can imagine the trauma that you're experiencing and witnessing,
Not
moving a
just that, I was
lot.
gonna say moving a lot, never really probably feeling
That's
stable.
stable.
Yeah,
That
stable
yeah.
and stay, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So then, okay, 4th grade on, kind of walk us through that then.
So 4th grade would have been when we moved. We ended up going to South Carolina. Obviously, it was delayed, but we moved to South Carolina. Dan moved first. We followed. So there was no church going up there because, like I said, we were not there long. This was where we lived with him. It just became so physically abusive from my mother that we befriended some people down the road. And Dan actually got up to go to work one morning, and my mother befriended the child's mother, and they snuck us out, got us on a Greyhound bus, and shipped us back home while he was gone.
Oh,
So we were able to escape them because the abuse had got so bad there in South Carolina.
wow. And I'm assuming you moved to South Carolina because you were probably following the new stepfather.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Dan would have been his. Yeah.
Man.
Wow. So what happened when you're
So
back then?
with what?
What happens then? You're back home. You've snuck back. You're back in Alabama.
So we go to the grandparents' house, which is part of the trauma based childhood.
Oh my.
We go there. My mother goes back to work. Dan comes back to Alabama.
Okay.
So he moves back here. So it was just an ongoing, like I say, he was a great man when he was sober, but the demon that came out of him when he was drunk, he would be drunk for 2 weeks at a time to where he would come in like looking for a fight with my
Mm.
mother, wake her up out of the sleep, so much that we would all sleep in the back room trying to hide from him. And we would actually move his vehicle because he had a stander. You could push those out of the way just in order to escape him sometimes because we knew that he was going to physically assault my mother that night.
Oh, that's
It
awful.
is wild. It was wild.
Now, how old were your siblings? Are you the oldest of the siblings, or
Yes.
you are?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
so
the oldest. Oh gosh. April's gonna be like 2 years younger than me, and then Eric will be like a year or 2 younger than her. So I'm gonna say, oh Lord, don't make me do math on the spot. 38, I don't know,
but
something like 37,
you
I don't know, 38.
you probably felt, though, as the older sibling, a little bit of a protection toward them as well, right?
Yes.
So you
Yes.
had and the thing is, you're watching your mom get beat, so you're probably, I can't imagine, and you're in 4th grade, right? Is this around 4th grade?
Hmm.
I mean, that's,
Well, it was all the way up. With David, it was just as bad. We would wake up in the middle of the night, which was my sister's father, and they would be fighting in our doorway.
Mm.
I remember him coming in. My mother had taken us to get pictures back. You went to Kmart and got your pictures taken. And I remember him asking me, "Where did your mother put those pictures at, Amanda?" And my mother had already called me and said, "Amanda, don't tell him where those pictures are." Because he was just going to destroy them. So I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, you're just a lying,
uh,
and started cussing just like your mother. Now,
Mm.
mind you, he's not working. My mother's working 2 jobs, and here we are
Oh.
stuck with this man. I remember coming home one day with a report card that didn't have A's and B's on it, and I slipped it down behind the chair. And I called my mother at work and I said, "Hey, I put my report card here. Will you sign it?" That way he didn't get it because if he would have got it, I would have got a beating. It was just he was David was he was not a very nice man.
Wow.
So yeah.
So was he there up like through high school?
Um,
You,
Dan,
Yeah.
Okay, so that was David. So I'm sorry, I know it's kind of confusing because both of their names starts with a D. So yeah. So starting around fourth grade, Dan was up until I almost started high school. He actually died of a massive heart attack just before I started the ninth grade. So
Do you think that was because of all the drinking? Do they?
I would assume so. He was an unhealthy man, and like I say, I don't know exactly the details, but
And
Wow.
probably an
I
ugly
I would
soul
assume.
too. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
doing that to people. So you said that some of your trauma came back when you moved in with your grandparents,
Yeah.
correct?
Oh yeah.
Do you want
Yeah.
to share that?
So it was my mother's mother. Um, And she was just, to me, she was just a mean, mean, mean woman. Now, she took care of us while my mother worked, so I credit for that. But I remember as a child, when I turned 11, I knew I could stay at home and babysit my sisters. And I remember looking forward to that so bad because I just hated being around her. So she was married to a guy that actually assaulted one of my cousins. I remember a lot about that because I remember him kind of playing around with us in a way that was almost weird,
Mhm.
but he never assaulted me that I can recall. But yeah,
Wow. Which
that was a wild ride
which
too.
I mean, I don't know. And saying what you're saying then, I mean, I don't know what your mom's life was growing up with your grandma then, but probably maybe the reason why she then turned to the men who were,
Hmm.
the way they were. And then,
I, yep.
oh, that's,
Yeah, she was abused as a child too by her mother's husband. Yeah.
Mm.
She's deaf in one
wow.
ear because of one,
Oh my
because she would
goodness.
take the beatings for her sister.
Oh my gosh.
And David was so bad that I remember when he would be on it, we would be driving down the road and he would be trying to push my mother out of the car driving down the road. And I remember several times, different episodes of him saying, "When I come back, I'm going to kill every one of you." And he was taking us to his mother's house. So
Did you,
we were young kids.
I mean, I can't imagine, like, were you fearful at night or to sleep?
Well, and that's what I was gonna kind of ask too. What was your life, even as you got older? Were you anxious a lot? Was there always anxiety? It seemed like in your life.
Yes, but I wouldn't have known what it was at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
In survival mode, now that I've educated myself a lot more on that, I'm like, well, that's what that was, you
Yeah.
That's
know?
exactly, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
That's
yep.
something I'm learning
Um,
too. Like that's the anxiety part of stuff it's just stuff that's happened to you throughout life. But until you educate yourself, like
Yeah.
Amanda just said here, until you educate yourself, you don't know, and you just live with it. It's normal, but
Yeah.
it's
that's
horrible.
right.
It's
Yeah.
horrible.
And then as you go to
It
walk
really is.
and then you like step out and start doing stuff like as you learn, then you're like, oh man, I didn't know that was broken. There's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
there's another
Yep.
one. Yeah, like I mean, I don't
Yep.
know, like you find those other pieces along the way that God starts to show you and like, you're like, oh, man. But okay, so walk us through like okay, so high school then. You said that Dan had passed away.
Hmm.
Are you
Dan
still
passed
at
away.
this point living with your grandparents in high
No,
school?
no, no. We shortly after we came back from South Carolina, my mother would have got her own place. So
Okay.
once we were there, we would have been back home, like
Okay.
in our own home.
Okay.
Okay.
So my mother worked, I don't think she worked two jobs at this point, but she would work nights sometimes up until like 9 o'clock at night. So we go, high school's going good. I meet my son's father, Chris, and at 15 years old, I'm walking the halls pregnant.
Okay.
Um, um,
So you were 15.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And how did that go as far as being I mean, I can only imagine now, like at 15, how was that with your peers? And then like how was your mom and how did that get handled with that situation?
Well, I was able to hide it for 6 months,
Wow.
like wearing tucked in jeans and all. I'd always been tiny up until that point.
Uh-huh.
So peers, no, I don't, if people made fun of me, I'm sure there were some people in high school that may have said something, but they never said anything
Mhm.
directly. But I remember going and I was real upset because my son's father broke up with me and my
Mm.
mother came to me and she said, well, why are you so upset? She called the school counselor. I talked to him and he just, Mr. Daly, Harold Daly, I absolutely love that man. He's a good man and I wish that my boys in school would have had him. But he came to me, talked to me, and he asked me very nonchalantly, "Is there any possibility?" And he's like, and I said, "Yes." And that's when I let my mother know. Um,
Mm.
that I could be pregnant, and we went to the health department, and needless to say, she about fell out because I was so scared. I had the one of the nurses at the health department tell her, and it was a few days after, maybe the day after, I remember her calling me in there, and she gave me a hug, and she said, "It's going to be okay. You'll just have a little tag along." And then that's when I was actually able to breathe a sigh of relief.
A little bit of
Then.
Like, she made it almost easy for you, where she's like, "Oh, you'll just have a little buddy or a little partner,
Yeah.
a tag along." So from that point, you could breathe, and then what happened from there? So I'm assuming, so the father, is he out of the picture at this point?
No, because we actually left the health department and went to his house and notified him.
Okay, okay.
So, yeah. So we were in a relationship for a couple of years after, and it just didn't work out.
Okay.
It just didn't work out. He wanted to get married. My mother's like, no, we just don't. I just don't think that's the right thing to do.
Mhm.
So I never married him. He's actually passed. He passed in 2012. So I mean, it
Wow.
was rocky here and there, but
Wow.
yeah. I walked the halls. I went into labor on a Friday. I was in school. Had my mother come check me out. I had my son Christian on a Saturday morning, and I was back in school that following Monday to finish out the school year. So I was determined to end the school year. So,
Wow.
that's awesome.
so
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
And how is
yeah.
your son? How is your son now?
He's doing good. He's doing really good.
Good.
He's good.
Good. Well, okay. Well, how was it then from that point being a mother and finishing high school?
Well, I started making A's and B's after, I got pregnant. Ironically, I was like, you got to get something together here. You have a child now. There's no more playing around. You've got a baby that you've got to,
Wow.
do better for. So I went to church. That's when I was at the Methodist church.
Mhm.
I would actually take him to the services with me on Wednesday nights, youth services. And Brother Johnny was always good to us. We were welcome
Nice.
just as we were.
Oh, wow. So did that have a big
It was
impact on you? Like having somewhere to go, like a safe spot, and they were welcoming to you. Like, do you feel like those seeds
Mhm.
were planted that kind of kept you going all those years, through all of this?
I may not have realized it
Yeah.
then, but
Mhm.
I realize it now. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I always feel
Yeah.
like that's the case. Like
Yeah.
you don't get it in those moments, and you don't understand, but like in hindsight, you're like, wow. The little
Yeah.
seeds
It's
that were
like once
planted
you
along
get
the
that
way.
once you get that revelation of
Mhm.
God, then you start
Yeah.
when you look back, you're like, he was there then. He was there then.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. So
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna ask. Like what was your Christian life walk, even through high school? I mean, were you close to God? I mean, were you, reading the Bible? I mean, what was your relationship like during the high school years?
I wouldn't say that I was devout.
Yeah.
As I should have been. But I did pray, and I had my own relationship with God. And throughout the time we were at the church there at the Methodist church, I felt like I had a community and had people there that were to support me even within the church. And I don't feel like I was judged. If I was, I didn't know it. At my age having a kid. So I feel like for the most part, I feel like I had a good strong support system at home and within the church.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our testimonies, it feels like there's a lot of church hurt.
Yeah.
And so being able to hear
I don't
that,
remember any.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's great. So then okay, so, fast forward now through high school then. What
So
transpired?
then let's see, me and my son's father went our separate ways. Then started working at Walmart. My mother told me that during high school I didn't have to work because she wanted me to get my diploma. So she was supportive of that. So I didn't start working until I graduated, and I started working at Walmart. And that's where I met my first husband, Brian. So church would have fell off a little bit there. I met him, and that was just the beginning of a pretty bad 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would go to church with his family. His family was big in the church. His dad was the deacon of the church. So we would go to church with them some,
Mhm.
but not devout as we should have been.
Uh-huh.
But he is the one that was the narcissist, the trauma bonding, the domestic violence, you name it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So almost like, again, and I don't put this like this isn't, it's like, it's amazing like when you listen to other people's testimony, like in every one of them, it's like in some way you don't even know you're choosing the same kind of like life, like in people, like
Environment almost.
environment, like
Yeah.
even if it's a different way or a different
Mhm.
kind of abuse, somehow there's always that same cycle of choosing this abuse, you know?
Because it feels familiar, and I
Yeah,
know that now,
I
but I
know.
grew up in it. My mother grew up in it. Then she chose the man that abused
Yeah.
and beat on her,
But
and
you
then here
think
I
in
am,
the moment, you think
and
it
look what
looks
I've done.
different. You
Yeah,
do. Like you know. So do you want to walk us through that and some of the
yeah.
things that you dealt with there?
Before
Yeah.
that though, the only thing I want to ask, because could you see the red flags when you guys were dating, or was he pretty secretive about it, or was it you didn't see the red flags because it was comfortable and it was something you were used to?
Good question. I want to know this too. Yeah.
Well, it's really sad to admit now. So when I met him, to begin with, he was very charismatic, outgoing. I
Mhm.
mean, you're in front of a crowd of people, and he is just the life of the party.
Mhm.
Whether you at a gas station talking to people, or if you're at home visiting with family, he had this way about him, as most narcissists do,
Mhm.
that in front of people they're just this great person. So in the very beginning, there were red flags. But I'm a person that doesn't like to lose, and I know that is pride, and I'm better at that now.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, maybe it's just this one time thing.
Mhm.
As far as like going out and partying, I didn't do a lot of that when I was a kid. I remember going out a few times with him, and we would have fun. And then all of a sudden, it's like once they get you hooked, the
Mm.
relationship's developed. I moved in with him, and that's when it all started.
See,
Mm.
now you say like you said something like you feel stupid now, but again, you weren't educated on it. So you're
Right.
going into this, and in all honesty, he probably is like a breath of sunshine compared to what you came from. So you're seeing
Yeah.
this guy that's good with people, and you're like, man, this is fantastic.
Well, if
But
his father is a deacon of a church
that
too,
too.
and at a young age, you would think from the outside, like, hey, this is good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
So
His parents were good people.
mm,
So let's real quick again, and then we'll go into the marriage, okay? Because this is a good kind of a.
Yeah.
What would you say right now? Let's say there is a young 17, 16-year-old girl or boy out there. Like, what are some just maybe just quick dating advice that if you had to just give like a quick 1 minute, hey, here's a spiel for you. What would it be?
As far as like a red flag or just
Just like maybe red flags, because like we said here, we see looking back now, here's this guy, he's good at talking, he's doing this, and you fell for that. Like, so, this is, I think, nowadays dating is even harder than it was 10 years ago.
yeah, I agree.
It is, and I feel like there's a lot more, maybe not necessarily narcissism, but a lot more
oh,
selfishness.
definitely
Lot of
Hmm.
self-centeredness.
self. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just maybe just give somebody a quick word of advice, maybe what to look out for with some.
What I would say is your gut knows before your mind does. And in this whole situation, when it come to Brian and me, when I was in the relationship with him and married to him, my gut told me that intuition is on point. God blessed women with that, and go with it. If something feels off, it is off.
Mm.
Almost 100% of the time, if something just feels it in your gut that it's not right, something's not right, and you need to listen, and you need to just walk away because something's not right there.
And I
That
think
intuition, listen to it.
and see, I think that's perfect for women right there. And I think for men, what's important is to find somebody that's older and wiser, and that can, like, if you go to them and say, "What do you think of this, this woman?" They can tell you the
Hmm.
truth, and you're listening, because guys have egos too. So we don't, I don't think, have that quite that intuition that women do, because we're kind of, we like to,
Yeah.
show our feathers off a little bit more in
Yeah.
that kind of situation. But I
Yeah,
feel like if you have somebody that you can go to, a mentor, if they tell you this is a red flag, you listen and you get out. But it's got to be
that's
somebody that
right.
you build a good relationship with. It's a good godly relationship, somebody that you trust.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
all right, that's
I
that's good stuff.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so walk us through. Let's hear how that ended up.
Okay, so I think I would have been 17 or 18 when I met him. He was a towboat captain, made good money. I worked at Walmart. I was in nursing school at the time. Well, I didn't quite make it into the nursing program. Not at that point. I was still doing my basic prereqs. So I start getting lazy, don't go to school, end up having to do withdrawals and retake a couple classes, hanging out with him. He had two kids from a previous marriage, and then I had my son Christian. And needless to say, some point along there, I married him. And to this day, I couldn't tell you why I did it. I remember leaving the courthouse, and he said, "Hey, call your mom, call your mom." And I called my mom and told her because I felt pressured to. And my mother said, "Amanda, please tell me you didn't."
She knew.
Yeah, and I
That's not
said, "I
what you want to hear.
did." Yeah, and then he's like, "What is she saying? What is she saying?" And I'm like, "Well, she's congratulating us." Because
Uh-huh.
then I'm like, driver's seat on the phone, you know what I mean?
Which
But
I just want to
yeah,
say, is this the point where a lot of people where you start the excuses? Like
yeah,
the constant cover up and the excuses and
uh-huh.
constantly trying to make peace with everybody?
Yeah, because they didn't really know that I had a lot of issues there.
Mhm.
They must have known a little something for her to say, "Amanda, please tell me you didn't," but they wouldn't have known how bad it was
Mhm.
at that point, I don't think at that point it was too bad.
Mhm.
There was some abuse in the home, but it wasn't as bad as it obviously was in the end. So married him a couple of days later. If it was even a couple of days later, it could have been the next day. He's on his way back to Mobile to get on towboat. And this man calls me and tells me that as soon as he gets back, he's going to get our marriage annulled because he's made a mistake.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
mind you, things have been great up until he left, and then boom, all of a sudden, here we are with this cycle, this emotional roller coaster. I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, what happened
Here come the
between now
games.
and not even an hour later? Yeah, the games, the mind games. So I was heartbroken. I started packing all my stuff, and here I am. I had my sister, she come out and help me. I rented a storage unit, moved everything in it. And before he could get home within 2 weeks, he's telling me, "Hey, I didn't mean that, blah, 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 blah,
Mm.
blah." So then I rush to this storage unit, clean it out, get all my stuff back into the home before he comes home because I don't want him to know that I've actually moved everything out. I mean, that's how that bond, that trauma bond was already
Wow.
formed before I even knew what a trauma bond was.
Mhm.
So I'm like, let me get this back so he don't get mad at me. So I get moved back in. He comes home. Needless to say, I'm sure we fought. I don't really remember. He liked to drink and really get wasted and be very, very hateful as well.
Wow.
So is he like this? So he was worse even when he was drunk, but even when he wasn't drunk, it still wasn't
Yeah,
good.
he could just be
He's just
mean.
a mean person.
Yeah. So we sold the place we were living at and we got another place over closer into to where some of my family was. And I worked nights at the time. So I ended up finishing LPN school. I worked nights at the local hospital and he would just run around all night when he was home with I don't know who. Like he was cheating, run around partying here and there. I
Wow.
remember one time he had such a hold on me that we were going to go to his friends that lived just around the corner from us and watch a movie with his friend like that he was a longtime friends with and his wife. And we go to leave and I don't know what happened. Dude lays on the gas on this truck and goes all the way around this big tree and almost lays the truck on his side because he's mad because I'm going. So
Wow.
he mentally abuses me there and tells me that I need to go to work. So what did I do? I got out, I called in and told him I could come to work. He went over to the friend's house and watched the movie. Well, come to find out, that friend's wife was one of the ones he was cheating on me with.
Oh my.
Oh man.
Yeah. So yeah, he was yeah, very hateful and I just couldn't understand. So I went to work that night like as if he was my father telling me I needed to go to work.
Wow.
So yeah, there was a couple of times. The one time he come in and started on me. I'll tell you two big times that I remember. Well, there's actually three. My son was obviously living with us and he started on me and he wanted to, start beating on me. I'm like, look, if you'll just let me get mine and my son's stuff and we'll leave for the night, we'll just leave. Well, he wouldn't let us leave.
Mm.
So I had my cell phone and I was able to dial my mother's phone number and I dropped the phone. Prayed to God that she would pick up the phone and hear it because he was actively beating me at this
Oh
point.
my goodness.
So I dropped the phone, covered it up so he couldn't see it. So a few minutes later, my mother comes barreling through the door and he had me pinned down on the love seat, just beating on me. And I told my son, go to his bedroom and just wait there until this is over. So
Wow.
yeah, my mother came through. She rescued us that night. And then there was another night he came in. I was actually cooking dinner. Christian would have been in his room. He comes in and he just starts. I want to say there would have been some extra like controlled substances on board because you don't just flip like that for no
Mhm.
reason, you know. And I almost wonder if he was doing cocaine along with the drinking. I'm not sure. But this particular night, he just got on me. Then I remember him throwing me down the couch, you know, beating on me, telling me whatever, putting my son over the top of me, saying, you know, why I'm doing this to your mother or something like that. And I have my phone in my hand. I have a sweater thrown over it, trying to dial 911. Needless to say, he gets off of us and lets us. I finally get Christian out the door. I won't go out the door until I get my son out the door. So finally, he goes out the door, and I go out behind him, and we take off running because he took my car keys and just threw them out in the nights, and I couldn't find them.
Oh my gosh.
So we run out the door, and there's a bend just before you get to our house, and we got in the road, and we ran down the road, and just as we're going around that bend, I hear him crank the truck up. So he was coming after us, and he had a pistol in the truck. And I said, Christian, we got to get in the ditch. And when we hit that ditch, I'm going to tell you what, I didn't realize that ditch was so deep. We just slid straight down. Like I had rash all down my leg from just going down the ditch. And just across from where we were at was a cemetery. So I hear him come. He goes, and we're down far enough that his headlights go right over our heads. Praise
Wow.
God he didn't find
Yeah.
us. So I'm on the phone with 911. They're coming, and they're like, I see the officer pass by once he goes back home, and this is how I almost want to say demonic he was. On the phone with the dispatcher, she's like, "All right, ma'am, the police officer's at your house. You can come on out." I said, "I've watched plenty of Lifetime movies. I will not come out until I know he is locked up in the back of that car. I've seen too much true crime to know that it don't always end well doing that." So she flipped over and come back. She said, "He's got him in the back of the car." As I'm walking past this cop car, once I come out, this sick man looks at me and kisses at me.
My gosh.
So that is demonic if I've ever seen anything. That is not normal.
Because he just
So
knows
needless
he's
to say,
torturing you. But
wow.
Yeah. 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 So I move out, and I guess I didn't have enough. A few days later, he gets out of jail. I go back.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But
And
I can imagine the way he has mentally abused you on top of physical abuse. And just coming from your background, in my mind, even when you're talking, I keep thinking about like how unworthy he's making you feel. Like you don't even deserve to go to the friend's house. Obviously, he's sleeping with the girl, but
Right.
like the way he does it, he manipulates you to make you feel bad about
like you're
yourself.
guilty. You're the one who's
You're the
guilty
one
for
who
not
is
working that
guilty.
night.
Yes. Like
that's right.
that's why I see like, okay, you go back to him because what was going through your mind? What did make you, like looking back in hindsight, what
I
made
was trying to make him happy.
still at that point you think you were just still trying to make him happy because you didn't feel worthy. Like it was about,
Yeah.
wow, okay.
I was completely broken at that point.
Yeah, I can see why.
So one of the last times that the real bad beating that I took from him, I was on the phone with my sister, and he pulls up so fast in the driveway that he almost hits the house. And I told my sister, if you have not heard from me in 30 minutes, I need you to come looking for me, because I knew. This guy gets out of the truck, drags me in the house by the head of my hair. And needless to say, he beat me all throughout that house. I almost got out the back door one time. Anyways, the washer and dryer, I got beat all up on that. I remember one point we were at the fireplace, and he had a rope chain on, and I ended up breaking that rope chain fighting back, and he's down on top of me just hitting me or whatever, and he took that rope chain and he hit me with it like a belt. And when I tell you, I had a mark straight through here from a rope chain all the way from how he hit me so hard with that. So he took the phone from me when he got me in the house, and he hid it. So I get up and I'm trying to get out again, and he goes down the hallway, I guess realizing I don't know what he's doing, and I make it. We had a deadbolt or a regular lock on the door, and I made it to it. And when I tell you, I go running down the steps, he came out that front door on top of me. That's how quick he was on me. And he tried and tried to drag me back into the house. And I'm like hollering, and we're in a rural area, but there's like a few houses around. And of course, nobody heard me.
Ugh.
But he tried to drag me back in the house. And I knew if I went back in that house, I wasn't going to survive it. I just knew in my heart. So I fought and fought and fought. And I literally, from the ground, him dragging me all down one side of my leg, I had like road rash, is what it looked like from where him just dragging me. So, needless to say, I guess he snapped out of it and he left. So I get in my car and I'm able to leave at that point.
Whoa.
So yeah.
Was that it? Your
No, I think I took a couple more. I went
Man.
back. Yeah, it was wild. And I'm in RN school at this point. So I'm trying to go to nursing
Yeah.
school. I'm going to school with bruises on my face. Normally I'd sit in the front of the class and my instructor's calling me in there and she's like, look, something's changed. What's going on? And I'm hiding bruises. I'm coming to work. My doctor that I work for is calling me in the room. She's just like, why'd he hit you? Because she can see all the bruises, even though I've tried to cover them up. He actually broke my collarbone at one point because I was trying to leave. He wouldn't let me leave, and he pushed me and come down on top of me and broke it.
Wow.
Only broken bone I've had came at the hands of a man. So, yeah.
How is your son? How is he doing with all of this at this point?
Actually, I just reached out to him within the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, you know what, Christian, is there anything about your childhood growing up that you would like to talk to me about, that you need clarification on? I said, I am ready to take accountability for anything and to clear anything up. So we're going to have he said there's nothing that really comes out at him. Of course, he didn't care for Brian because I believe he was 11 when we finally got out.
Okay.
He got away.
So when you get out, what happens now? You finally said this is
So I
enough.
finally got out. Yeah. I moved back in with my mother. And he would come over there, harass me. And I got a phone call saying, hey, he's on his way to you. So I got time just to lock all the doors just in time before he pulled up. And he would harass me over there. And he was so deranged that he would look me dead in my eyes and tell me he never laid a hand on me.
Wow.
It was just like,
when he said that, do you think he truly meant that? Or do you I guess what I'm saying is, like, do you think he was possessed? I cannot fathom, first of all, even beating a woman, let alone doing it over and then making it there, like at that point and then like you said, he would just snap out of it. All of a sudden it'd be like, okay, now he's done with it. And this isn't giving him an excuse. I don't want it to sound like an excuse. I'm honestly curious, was he maybe possessed?
It makes me wonder. It really does. It makes me wonder because things like that are so irrational that you can't rationalize them. So it would have to be something like that. You just don't go around just beating on people like that and get sexual gratification from it. He even forced himself on me one time right after I came home from clinicals with the flu. He got mad because I came home. I'd stopped to get medicine on my way home. And needless to say, he beat me because I was at home sick with clinicals. And then he raped me. And right after he beat me, I'm like, who can do that?
Wow.
How can you do that?
To me, that there's got to be some kind of demon. I can't. I don't even know if the human body. I don't know. That's not my expertise there, so I better not say anything.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there had to have been. Just listening to this whole story.
Oh, there's definitely dark
There's
influence.
something.
Absolutely. For someone to be that irrational, and I even question, which I know you know a lot about this. And we had someone too that I made the statement coming about narcissists. I feel like everything really is a spiritual warfare, and it comes down to good and evil. I feel like
I agree.
Narcissism is demonic.
It is.
And that
I hardly believe that.
Okay, so and maybe we'll get into that here after we finish your story, but I feel like the root of it is open doors to, pride, and it's demonic, and I just think that ultimately that's what everything boils down to.
Well, severe insecurity. That was another thing. There's so much because you're so focused on yourself.
But that's to like the ultimate, which I know that you know a lot about this. So I don't know. Well, I guess we could get into that, but if you want here, okay. So what was this? What was this? Was it just so much that you finally was like, I'm done? You moved in with your mom. Like, I can't imagine he handled that well.
He
'Cause
didn't. He harassed me for a while afterwards.
and how long did that go
Yeah.
on for?
It went on until I actually started dating someone else when he finally left me alone.
Oh, I'm
Wow.
surprised. I'm
Yeah.
surprised he didn't, like, harass
Yeah.
the person you were dating.
But I'll tell you this,
Yeah.
if a man is beating a woman, he's beating them because it makes him feel powerful. So once there's another man in the picture, now he's scared. You know what I mean? Now it's like, well,
Yeah.
now I might find some kind of somebody that's going to match me,
Well,
and then he's going to get the crap beat out of him
okay.
too. So I'm just saying that might be part of it.
Okay. Well, so you started dating somebody else.
Yes.
Okay, where do we go from here?
So I started dating this guy. He was a little bit older than me. He was a good man. I ended up moving in with him. I don't remember how long after. My son, I think until my son graduated high school, and our marriage fell apart. It just didn't go well at the very end. He wasn't abusive. It
Mhm.
just was a mismatch.
Yeah.
In the end, it just was a mismatch.
Well, I can probably, with all the things that I would assume you're unraveling and the things that you're even dealing with, from all of the trauma that you've gone through.
And even at this point, where did you had you started self-healing, like,
Yeah,
you know,
that was
where
my question.
did God come
No.
in at this? So you're still dealing with all that,
Mhm.
and then it's like, yeah, I can get that
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
So you're just trying to get through the day still.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So that one fell apart, and then what do we do?
So I moved out. I bought me a house. We have a son. I have another son named Aiden. Good kid. He just turned 15 on the 17th. So
Okay.
Awesome.
pretty good kid. So we share him. He's a good dad to him. He supports him.
Awesome.
So I moved out. I did end up finishing nursing school when I was married to Brian, by the way. I was able to finish nursing
Wow.
school. So
I mean, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the ability and the strength to get through all that with everything that you're dealing with and being a mom.
Yeah.
And I don't mean this to sound bad, but it's like your childhood was so rough, but that's what gets you through the nursing school. You know, it's like, even though you had that trauma and it was bad, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but that's what keeps you going to get through that nursing school, even when you're dealing with this other stuff, because that was normal to you. You just keep fighting through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember a nurse practitioner that I used to work with. I'm actually at my office now. He looked at me and he said, Amanda, he said, why are you putting up with that? Why would you put up with that? And then he said, whenever I talked to him, I said, look, I'm working on it. And he was like, well, if your mother put up with it, that's why you're putting up with it. And I'm like, bingo,
Yeah,
it's
that makes sense.
familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But at that moment though, was that almost like or did you already know that then when he said that to you?
I was in a part of my life there where I was really I just remember saying I'm working on it. So I may have realized it. But I'm not so sure I did, to be honest with you. I think I was still a little too immature at that point.
Yeah. So when you get divorced, or the second marriage had kind of fallen apart, you bought your own house. So were you independent for a while, or yeah,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and then raising two children.
Yep. Well, Christian was pretty much grown at this point.
Oh yeah.
He was in and out, so he would stay with me or his grandfather. But for the most part, yeah, 2. And Aiden was kindergarten.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then is that then the part where you started like reflecting and things started to change? Like where were you at that point?
At that point, I think I'm still just in survival mode.
Yeah.
Things have calmed down. Things are better. And Aiden's father, he wasn't abusive. He was just a person set in his ways, and there's nothing wrong with that. It was just a mismatch at the end. I would say that I was just making it through the day, each day. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy life, because things did get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a whole transition.
Yeah.
With the kid, the new home.
And then at what point, was there a point that as you are independent, was there a pivotal moment like where you started realizing that something had to change, or that you started to work on yourself, or that God showed up at this, in your life?
Well, I would say that I don't know that I would say that there was a pivotal moment there, but I would say that I do feel that without God and his guidance, even though at the time I may not have realized that, I would have made it to where I did. when it comes to, financial stability and being able to raise kid, be independent for the first time really in my life. I know that I can't do that on my own. That's something you could do, you could work at, but you have to have that divine guidance, even if you're aware of it or not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I didn't get involved in church, should have. Even as of right now, I'm not really involved in church as I should be, but we pray, we talk about God within my household. But no, I never healed. I never took the time to slow down to be like, you know what, maybe talking to somebody would really help me. Maybe journaling. I'm not a big reader.
Yeah.
I will read. I don't care to journal, but no, as far as it has been within the last 6 months that I'm finally realizing what in the world was going on when it comes to childhood.
No, I understand that in a way. It's it's like you don't even realize it, and all of a sudden it's like this fog kind of starts to lift, and you're like,
yeah,
oh, wait a minute. Like, there's things like in hindsight from your childhood or whatever it may be, and it's like you look back and you're like, what in the world? Or like having kids, do you ever think, or you look at your kids or their age, and then you think about the things that you had to deal with. Could you imagine your kids like dealing with some of the things that you had to deal with at your age? There's so many things that I think as you grow and you get older and like you get more wise and more wisdom, especially with what you've gone through, I feel like it's a very slow process, but it kind of that veil starts to lift. Don't you think?
Yes, I would agree.
And I think I don't think it's ever, a work that's done. I mean, even in our walk, when our walk with Christ, every day he tells us like we lay down ourselves and like renew our minds to him.
Yeah.
Like it's like a daily process, especially for people who have trauma. I think. I don't know. Like, what made you understand so much though? Like watching your content, like how spot on you are and how good you understand and know some of these abusive behaviors, narcissistic behaviors, the things that you're doing for people that are dealing with this. Did you ever think that that's what you would be doing?
No, I did not. No, when I started my TikTok journey, I had no clue that's where I would end up. Once I started studying the narcissist, I was like, wow. Domestic violence and narcissistic personality disorder go hand in hand, in my opinion. I started studying on the psychology of it, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
This is what I dealt with Brian, my first husband. And I'm just like, wow. It's almost like this light bulb. And like you said, the veil's lifted, and then you can see clearly. It's like, wow. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, and like when Caleb asked you, like he was like, did you see the red flags? Don't you even now look back and go, oh, they were there. But it's when you're young and whatever, you don't maybe see those as clear, or you put those gut instincts, you push those down for whatever other reasons because of your own abuse you're dealing with in your family.
Well, you let your heart lead instead of the spirit. When it's all said and done, that's your emotions.
Yeah.
And that's why the Bible says don't live by your emotions, because that's the stuff that's going to get you in trouble here.
You can feel those emotions.
Yeah.
But you ultimately want those emotions to line up with the word of God.
Right.
And
That's
the spirit.
what, it's that spirit, that gut feeling, that's the spirit saying, hey, let's back off of this one a little bit. But it's like, man, but I love him so much. He's such a good guy. Well, spirit's like, phew.
Yeah. And I struggle with the emotions now and trying to contain it. I still struggle with that to this day.
What do you explain? Like, what do you mean? Like, you struggle with dealing with the emotions?
If I get upset over something, it's like doomsday. Now I'm doing better, but sometimes it's just like doomsday, and it's really not that bad, Amanda. I have to tell myself afterward, and then I'm embarrassed of myself because like, dang, why did you just spiral like that? And it really wasn't that bad.
But that's like growth though.
Yeah.
Like once you feel like it's like, oh man, why did I do that? Yeah, but you now understand that you did something wrong. Now we can fix it to the next time.
Yeah.
You're going to blow up again. I know the feeling, but it's like maybe next time you catch yourself before you take it to that next level, and to me, that's just growth. That's the Lord working with you. And, he knows it's so hard, I mean, he knows it's hard to be a human.
and we have these
Yeah.
emotions, and it's hard to control I mean, he gave us emotions, so emotions aren't bad. It's just we don't use them in the right way. So I mean, but I would say I'm proud of you for, that's something, again, you're admitting like, hey, I'm doing something wrong. That's the number one thing a lot of people can't do, is just admit I'm doing something wrong. And that's why they can't grow from this. So
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, if you look at yourself 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I mean, you have to see how much you've grown and the things that have changed and what you've dealt with in your life, I would assume.
I mean,
Or is that still a difficult thing for you?
I would put money on it that I bet within the last year, you've probably
Yeah.
seen a lot of growth.
Yeah.
I think so. I have remarried. I remarried in 2021.
Okay.
Found a family man.
Okay.
He's got a great mom and dad. Christ people, good family background. But there was some more trauma in my life. I got married September of 21. My mother had a stroke a few months prior.
Oh.
So, and then all of a sudden she went in for to the hospital for not an amputation, for like a Doppler. I can't even think of the name of it now. Anyway, end up coming out with an amputated leg, completely unexpected. So yeah, all of that compounded. And then the next month, we had already had plans to go to Tennessee. We got married there, had a ceremony. So then we have all this with my mother. I come back and it's a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster ride since then, because even now with my mom, and as of a hard worker as she used to be, she's just not the same person anymore.
Well, I can imagine
Mhm.
because of her health, and I can imagine what she's dealt with her whole life.
No, that's right. And so there was all of that. So we deal with it. And when it comes to communication, I'm doing better within my marriage. We do good. And JB is a great communicator.
Mhm.
And I'm just one that sometimes I have to sit on it for a day to really process what you're asking me, so I don't just, be defensive every time.
Yeah.
And I find myself on the defense too much, and that's not healthy. I'm finding myself more and more each day learning to properly communicate.
But again,
And
that's
that is a
growth.
big,
I mean, that is.
it's,
Because
I'm
a lot of
43.
times, no, I understand, but a lot of times, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like with a narcissist and growing up with the trauma, I've seen a lot of them where they are avoidance.
Yes.
And so they don't want to communicate, or they get defensive because they've dealt with those things. I mean, is that what you?
Oh, yeah, they're going to avoid it, and they're going to gaslight you 100% of the time, and they're going to slowly flip it around on you. Like one time when I was married to Brian, he had went off on the boat, and I don't know where he was at this particular time, but I remember going through a suitcase to wash the clothes, and I found this list. And the names on this list, you can imagine what the names were. And when I tell, this young girl, or the advice of the intuition, go with it, because the names on that list lined up with my intuition every single time.
But wow. But do you never felt like even with your marriage now, or, not to get personal, but like with all the trauma though, you don't want to avoid the communication or just get defensive? Like, does it make the person that had all the trauma and that was married to the narcissistic person, does it make you? I've seen where and that's why I could be wrong about this. Like, it makes them an avoidant. Like, they just want to avoid conflict, or they don't even want to bring things up because they don't want to deal with conflict, or they get automatically defensive. Like, is that
Like
where you?
on my side?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if that was like something that you deal with, or that you think that people who are in those situations would be dealing with.
I found myself sometimes hesitating to say something because I have a problem of saying it the wrong way, instead of,
I see.
as I said, I've tried to learn to communicate better, and I think I'm doing better now, rather than just not saying anything at all.
Yeah, but that probably comes though, like with your ex, with Brian. Saying the wrong thing could also set him off.
Right.
So
yeah.
That's what I mean.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you're careful of what you're saying, because
you still
I don't want to
have
cause a fight or
yeah.
an argument.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. I
Yeah.
just did it really the wrong way when I was trying to ask the
No, that's
question.
okay.
to
No, that
Tommy.
was that's all right.
Thanks, Caleb.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but I mean, it would cause you. I could see where you would have a hard time communicating
Mhm.
because
I do.
I'm sure that the years of that to unravel and to like be safe and comfortable, it would take a lot.
Patient. JB's patient, and he's like, "Look, I know you may need time. Even when we don't have a lot of conflict. We really don't. But if there's something we need to discuss, sometimes he'll be like, "Look, I know you need time. Whenever you're ready."
Mhm.
That's what he'll say to me. Whenever you're ready.
That's wonderful.
Patience is big. That
So,
is key.
yeah.
And that's key
Yeah.
to marriage in general is patience.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Yeah,
it can be ran
He's
thin.
definitely got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
So,
fantastic.
how
Definitely
is
got
your
it.
mom now at this point?
It's a battle.
Is it a battle in the relationship aspect of it, or is it her health?
It's all of it. We ended up going through a lawsuit because she went in for an angiogram. That's what she went in for, and end up with a leg amputation that should not have happened due to malpractice and delay of treatment. So we went through a lawsuit. She ended up in a settlement. I'm power of attorney. I control everything because the online scammers, the princes and all those overseas in Nigeria.
No.
She's called up. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
no.
I can't convince her otherwise. I pay her bills for her. I give her money when she needs it for things, but I can't let her have any of her money, her house and everything. Nothing can be in her name because I don't trust her with it. And it's always something negative. And, she had no insurance when all this happened. I sat down and wrote out a timeline to give the attorney. I ended up getting her a prosthetic leg and she will not use it.
Mm.
And I'm like, Mom, do you know the people out there that would love to have that opportunity? So we battle back and forth. There's a fear of falling. I don't know how she feels. I have no idea how she feels, but I'm looking at things and I'm like, it's poor decisions that she made when it comes to a spouse that now she's relying on her children to take care of her in this situation. And that may sound very selfish of me and ugly, but I don't mean it in that way. It's just like,
It's the
I got
truth.
married in 21 and it's been, when I tell you, I get up waiting for the next slap in the face, from over at my mother. Now I have withdrew myself a lot because I have to self preserve at some point. I love her and I'm there for her and I will be there. But if every little thing that she wants to complain about, she'll call the police at the drop of a hat. One of these guys was supposed to come see her and she called 3 different police stations within a couple of counties to report that someone had got him from Pensacola, Florida airport, and she hadn't seen or heard from him since because he scammed her. And I'm like, Mother, what are you doing? So family tension has not left because now we have that with her, and that goes back for like 5 or 6 years, but I can't convince her otherwise. So I'm like, you know what? If you're going to play the scamming game, why don't you try to scam them? That's the point where I'm at with it. I'm like, come on, because I can't win.
So where are your sisters? Are they involved?
Yeah. And my sister April is back and forth with her. My son actually lives over there with her, and he's the scapegoat for the verbal abuse. Can't do nothing right because she'll get upset with somebody on that phone. And we'll get together as of right now for holidays, but it's really stressful.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way.
It
It shouldn't be
shouldn't.
that way.
It shouldn't. I can feel the stress in you that you've taken everything on. I'll give you my own experience. I just want to say, I'm so impressed with you.
Definitely.
I think you need to continue with what you're doing because I don't think you realize the impact you can have on people by using and being vulnerable for what you've gone through and how it could help someone else. The other thing, I don't want to sound like I know everything. We are both sitting here doing this, stepping out in complete faith because God has just shown me and done so much in my life through things, through the trauma. When you see how good He is and what He can do and change in your life and the people around you, it's the whole reason I don't deserve it and I felt so unworthy for so many years.
I feel God calling me.
Yes.
I feel it.
And it's
I really do.
I know He's bigger than all of the trauma. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's bigger than all of it. It doesn't
Yeah.
it's nothing to him when we put our focus on him and magnify him, all the other stuff he will heal, you know? He heals the
Mhm.
brokenhearted. And then
Yeah.
he can use that healing in us and you to go and help heal others. And
Yeah.
I just think that your story can impact so many people, especially
Well, thank you.
surrendering yourself to him and letting him lead you and remembering that the burden is not on you. He tells us to cast our cares upon him because we aren't to carry those burdens. We weren't meant for it. Our bodies weren't meant to carry those.
And, my husband tells me, he says, lean not to your own understanding.
Amen. Yes.
That's one of his favorite, and he'll tell me that. And I have to remember that because I'll get so caught up, like, why am I being punished? Why is all
Yep.
this on me? I look at my family dynamics and I'm like, I know a lot of people come from dysfunctional families. Not everybody's blessed with a great family. And I'll say things like, in my next life, I hope that I have a good family. And I don't mean that. Obviously, I don't believe in reincarnation, but I'm like, man, I
Yeah.
look at these people in these big family photos and these beautiful gatherings, and I'm like,
Yeah. I know.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
one of us don't, fight today.
hmm
Yeah. I know. Mhm.
Peace is
Yeah.
fantastic, you
Yeah.
know?
That's right.
I know. But see, now then you break those chains. And that's all
Yeah.
I can think of now is you break those chains
Yeah.
so that there is that for your children and for
That's what I'm
for
hopeful
your
for. Yes.
moving on and that you can grow older and have, that peace that only God can give you through what you've dealt with. I mean, that's the
Mhm.
truth.
And again, the stuff you're doing right now on TikTok. I mean, you even see that with your following. That was one thing I went and I'd look through the comments of just people and what they were saying, and it was like you're helping so many people. Just let God continue to do that for you. I'm very happy for you. I am, and
Thank you.
I hope you do keep growing.
So you're dealing with your mom's health and your marriage now. So as of today, where do you stand? And like, how is your relationship with Christ? What are you hoping for right now going forward?
Well, I pray that for my mother's health and that
Yeah.
we can just somehow find some kind of family dynamics that work and
Mhm.
not go over and just have to push through things. I'll be honest with you, this may sound completely way out there, but I've actually thought about looking for like a pastor to come into the home and just pray over my whole family as a
Yeah.
whole. Like, is there some kind of generational curse on us? Is there something like this going on that causes all this dysfunction? Because we have my mother's mother who was with an abuser who allowed the abuse to my mother and her sister, and then allowed the abuse to actually a young cousin of mine. And then you have my mother, she grew up with the same type men, not necessarily sexually abusing us, but, we would be around the physical abuse and hear it, you know what I mean? The verbal
Yeah.
abuse, emotional abuse. And then I grow up and I marry somebody who physically assaults me, is verbally abusive to me. And my sisters, same thing. And I got to talking to one of my sisters. I'm like, we are like this because it's familiar to us. It feels
Yeah.
like home. In the mind, it feels like home. And when you find someone safe, it's foreign. And the brain's like, no, 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 no. That's not familiar, so it's not safe. I just was blessed with the husband that I have now and moving forward that hopefully we can come to some kind of peace and work through all these problems together and still be a somewhat functional family and not so dysfunctional.
Well, I think that God is bigger than all of that.
Yeah.
And I think that
Yeah.
that is if you continue to seek him, that he will open those doors and give you wisdom for that. I do. And I think that God can. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, like I know like there's the cycles like of abuse and it's like that generational thing, but it's like the
Hmm.
generational curse, the generational abuse,
Yeah.
abuse. It's like learned behavior or, generational curse, as they say. But I feel like sometimes, like the spiritual warfare in that is like we just have to
Hmm.
surrender. Like it's like complete surrender when we surrender to Christ and we realize that He paid it all on the cross for us.
And finding
Yes.
out what your true
That's
identity
it.
is in Christ.
That was
That
where I
was
was going with that.
because,
Yeah.
like, for me, again, I mean, I've been a Christian, I could basically say my whole life, but
I didn't understand my identity until here recently. And that changes the revelation of everything. And I don't necessarily believe in generational curses, but I think there's tendencies. And I think that's what it is you grew up in that. So again, you're doing familiar things.
Those doors are open.
They're right there. They're open for
And
you.
so, you know,
and then you step through them, and then
because it's familiar.
Yeah, and that's what I think. That's where Christ is the one that can shut those doors. But I think a lot, and I think a lot of Christians struggle with this because he's like, well, why didn't he close these doors? Because he still needs you to basically say, Christ, close the doors. You know what I mean? So,
and like you said, like sometimes it takes a time for you to see what you even need to, you know, it's like sometimes people, I think there's different situations, you know, where you hear like, you know, I was instantly changed.
Right.
And then there's other times where it's slow. I think it's your heart posture when you don't know any of this stuff and you're learning like all your stuff that you're learning about like the psychological part and the narcissism. It's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute. It's the same thing, I think, when we figure out who we are in Christ and what he's given to us. That veil starts to lift and it changes the way you even behave and the way you see things and your emotions. And like you can do that and it can spread through your whole family, you know? I mean, that's just something that we've seen in our own lives.
Right.
Yeah. That, you know, we hope that other people would see. And
we're not trying to preach to you here. No, that's not.
We're
No, that's not at all. You're good.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure of that too.
You
know, it's like, no, listen to
we're learning as we
are.
We're learning too, and like we're just trying to constantly have a closer walk, and it's just been kind of exciting talking to different people and talking to people like you. You can
not necessarily agrees to hear the trauma stories. You know, it doesn't, but it again, it's like that somehow it does encourage you. It's like, man, you've gone through this stuff and look where you're at now. Look at where you had come from.
Yeah.
And God was with you that whole time. You might not have seen it, but he was was right by your side.
Yeah.
He's seen it. And it's not like God was like, yeah, I'm allowing this to happen. No, it was like, you know, he was right there. He was with you.
I just think that there's so much that God is calling you for. That's what I think. Yeah.
I think so too. You know, I've had some people just be completely ugly to me on there, and I just put God bless you on there.
Amen. There you go.
There's just no sense in being ugly. I had this one tell me, you know, you should not be helping people because you're still, you know, healing. You don't get to tell me that.
Well,
you don't get to tell me that.
You don't have to be perfect to go tell your story.
No.
And to tell the things that you have learned, because you don't know what that's going to do for somebody. We are never going to be perfect, ever.
Not just that, you're going to help somebody because you had went through something, and now that drives.
Nobody knows what you've went through and what you truly have walked through. So the fact that you're even putting yourself out there to me is a big thing. I wouldn't worry about them. Get so rooted in knowing that you don't have to worry about what other people think. It's what God thinks about you.
That's right.
And God sees you as his daughter, as
you're
his
righteous.
child.
You are righteous.
Yep, you're righteous.
You know, that's
you're
the
healed.
thing. So.
You know, and you're going to go out there and you're going to change people's lives. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm hopeful. If it's only one, I'll be happy.
It's worth it.
That's exactly right.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most
Man,
definitely.
Your story is something that it's like, it's heavy. Man, it's heavy.
You can feel it. It's like, man, and you just.
It's very heavy. I am thankful that you are able to sit here and talk to us about it.
Yeah.
I
don't wear dresses. Like I used to wear dresses as a kid, and due to a little bit of sexual assault, I don't wear dresses anymore. I've bought a few dresses here and there, and I have probably 10 in my closet, but I just don't wear them. I would love to. But when this happened, I was at my mother's house because my mother would have been working, and it would have been my mother's, one of her men that came in, and I happened to wear a dress that night. And I remember my mother saying, my girls would never wear dresses again. We had to go back. So she knew what happened. I told her. And then later on in life, you know, not too much longer, but there was a friend of the family. I stayed over at their house, and they had 3 little boys and good friends of the family. That's why my kids don't stay with just anybody. Or this is why my kids don't stay with anybody. I remember, I don't know, I would have I would have been below the age of 8, 7. I'm not even positive. It was somewhere along that line. But I remember waking up in the middle of the night and the man was touching me, and I was like, wow, like the woman's husband. And we were on bunk beds. So I moved and he left the room. So I knew something wasn't right. So I took myself and put myself all the way against the wall, pretty much sleeping in between the wall and the bunk bed.
Wow.
Well, I would wake up, he had moved me all the way back over again. So I would move a little bit more and he would leave the room. I would get up and move the kid off of the top bunk and put him beside me and put me against the wall again. And I would wake up and he had moved that kid back up to the top bunk and moved me over. I never told my mother about this. I did tell my Aunt Barbara, and my Aunt Barbara told my mother years later after I heard him actually sexually assaulting another child. And they're like, I just don't believe Dwayne would do that. And I looked at my aunt and I said, I do. And she said, why? And I told her. And she said, you didn't tell your mom. I said, well, I told her about the first one and I had to go back to that house. So I just didn't tell her about the second one. So I never told my mother what happened. I never stayed there again, but I never told my mother what happened that night. And now I'm like, why didn't I? You know?
Probably because you had major
It's-
trust issues because you
Yeah.
never felt it was safe to say anything to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't wear dresses was the answer. I'm pretty sure my mother's mother, maybe that man left for a little while, but he came back.
Oh.
I'm almost certain. But yeah, it's little things like, oh, that's a pretty dress. Well, I don't wear dresses much, you know.
Yeah.
There's some I have wore dresses here and there throughout my life, but I don't wear dresses often because of that.
So you need to, wow, there's so many little things in life
Yeah.
that you have that you need just healing from to be free, to be free,
Yeah,
to be free. And,
yeah, I agree.
and not let people get in and hurt you and judge you, you know, for things that they say and they don't even know your story.
Yeah, that's right. And no, when it comes to my mother, I believe she done the best that she could. We always had the necessities, whatever we needed. And I mean, she had to work. She had 3 girls.
Oh, man. Do you feel like now, in hindsight, later in life, that because you were such in fight or flight, I'm assuming, this is my assumption, through those younger years, through even your young years in your first marriage, do you feel like now that you're in a marriage where you can take a breath with everything that's going on in your life? And I don't mean this to sound like negative by any means, but now that those issues are arising in hindsight that you're seeing with your mom,
Mhm.
like now, you know, you didn't even realize it because your mom was there in moments, but it was very dysfunctional and very
Yeah.
abusive. So now, is it a struggle for you because you're almost a little bit more angry at this point? Because now it's like you have a breath to sit and be like, why do I have to deal with this still?
I don't find myself angry with it because I
Uh-huh.
think that I just learned to push it away
Okay.
and just go on in that survival fight or flight mode. Sometimes I do get angry, but I don't necessarily ever really bring it up to her about my
Mhm.
childhood.
Mhm.
I just don't, because I'll be honest with you, I don't feel like I'll ever get the answers.
Mhm.
And I don't want to shame her because
Right.
at the same time, I do feel like she tried to do the best that she could
Right.
at that time. And, you know, a lot of times back then, when things like that went on in the family, it wasn't spoken of.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
you didn't
Yep.
talk about it. Like her mother, I remember when this happened to my cousin who was in the first grade, like her husband assaulted my cousin, sexually assaulted her. And I remember my mother's mother, we were sitting in the house afterwards and talking about it. And I remember this woman looking at me and saying, well, as old as she is, it's a wonder he didn't try to mess with her. And I think back on that, I'm like, why would you say that?
Jeez.
Why would you have
Louise.
even said that?
Right.
And obviously that stood out to me. If she was in the first grade, I would have probably been in the third, fourth grade. Why would you say something like that?
My gosh.
Were you that callous to that type of behavior that
Well, that
you didn't
That's
think it
exactly
would?
what I was going to say.
that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking too. I'm like, and that's probably why all this stuff continued to just
Yeah.
keep going on and on
Yeah.
because you didn't have
Yeah.
anybody stand up for the kid. That, you know, the kids
No.
are,
It's like you
Ugh.
were, I don't know. It's like you were in such fight or flight, but you were independent. You were, what's the word I'm looking for? Neglected in a way. Because, I mean, she did take care of you and she protected you, but like
Right.
she was busy working and then there was all these other factors in there and you were just like surviving. I mean,
Yeah.
true survival mode.
I
This
mean,
really was true
yeah.
survival mode.
like you just, I'm just so impressed with the things and the way that God has held your hand and kept you and that you are functioning today.
Yeah.
And I mean, I say
So
that as kind of joking, but I'm not. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
I just know that I have to go on. I have to push through. You can either take it and go with it
uh-huh.
and build off of it and live, or you can take it and let it consume you and completely eat you like a cancer. And I chose to not let it eat me like a cancer.
That's right.
I went to school, I finished my LPN, my RN, I got my bachelor's. You cannot let those things
No.
consume you. You have to decide for yourself, this is what I want,
Mhm.
this is what I don't want.
Yes.
And I made the choice, but you can't instill that in people,
No.
even, in daily work, and you either have it or you don't. And I wanted better. I wanted better. So
Which in hindsight, do you think that there's little pieces there and seeds that where God is kept you, like, and kept you for that reason that you either have it or you don't, but it's like his hand was on you through
Yeah.
this and he's still continuing to work on you and use you?
well, I feel like he's put me in a place to where, like, I read something recently that said, why don't I have a person I can't remember the exact saying, like they have a person. I'm like, well, God put you as that
You're
person
that
for
person.
all of them. I
Mhm.
am that person.
Mhm.
And I'm like, man, it would be nice to have that person for me. But I'm like, that's when I realized, like, you are that person
Yeah.
for your whole family. So you found a way, you pushed through, and you decided you wanted better, and you're it.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
It's on you.
you wanting better also, and again, I don't mean this to sound bad, but it took your eyes off yourself because you're trying to make a better life for your family, right?
Mhm.
And that's God there too. Like it's like this is what's going to help you heal. Like at least it's a start of it. It is. Oh man,
Yeah.
I do see a lot of God in this story.
I
I
do.
do,
I
and
think it's going to be a process that I think we're going to hear a lot more from, and I would
oh, I
love
do
to
too.
talk to you again in a year from now,
Absolutely.
even
Oh yeah,
to
for sure.
hear.
I want to hear what's going on here.
So, Amanda, if you had any advice for anyone who's struggling, who's going through an abusive relationship, that their heart's crying or whatever it may be, that that maybe when you were in that place that you wish someone would have spoke to you, what would it be?
The thing is you can talk all day long,
Mhm.
but until they are ready, they're not going to make a move. But when you are ready to make that move, you make those moves in silence. You develop a plan. If you have to walk away with $0, walk away with $0. If you have to be homeless, a homeless shelter, a woman's shelter, leave, because it will never get better. This Brian's dad actually told me, he said, if you do not leave, this man actually was at the house a couple of times, and Brian actually lashed out at me and didn't jump on me, but kicked the door out of my car, you name it. And we left that day. And he said, Amanda, if you will leave him, I will pay you so much money a month, because if you don't leave, he is going to kill you.
Wow, from his
From his
own
own father.
parent.
So, and I actually hid out at his parents' house one time when he beat me so bad I couldn't go into my family because I had bruises all over my face. And I didn't want to hear it from him. So I hid out at his parents' house for a whole weekend. My niece actually was in the hospital that weekend, and I didn't go see her. And my sister knew something was wrong, but I couldn't tell her what. So make baby steps, make those plans. And when you're able to leave, leave. Do not ignore it. My main thing is, and that intuition tells you need to, is 100% on. It always has been for me.
Okay.
Go with that intuition, make plans in silence. And it's hard to even find people to trust these days, because I found that one of my good friends, I thought she was actually running back and telling him things. And she was one of the ones that he actually had an affair with. So I'm like, dang, he knew all this stuff because I was telling her and she was doing this, and I confided in her.
And that's just betrayal.
And
That's even more trauma.
yeah,
That is just
When
so
you just
much
feel like you have
stuff.
nobody.
I know.
Yeah.
And then the
yeah.
people that you do trust are the ones that are
Yeah.
I'm real standoffish now. And that's why I tell you guys I'm like really introverted now, because I don't trust people like I should.
Because you've been
You
hurt so
know,
I get it,
much.
yeah.
I will trust a stranger before I trust most anybody that I know, outside of,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
Yeah.
family. But yeah, I'll, like you guys, I could talk to you guys more than I could, somebody I went to school with. It's wild, but it's true. Then I had another good friend of mine who I actually looked at as a sister. she ran back and did the same thing. I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, my husband is my best friend.
Good.
I found a friendship in him, and I can truly say that our relationship, I have my best friend in my husband, and he is a family man, and he is all I need when it comes to the friendship and as far as the support system. It took me 3 times. Now I'm not proud of that, but he is my person.
Yeah.
Good.
And I'm very thankful for that. And he is my best friend. I tell
Good.
him anything.
So there's hope for those out there
Yeah,
struggling.
there is.
There's hope.
Yeah, there
Even in
is.
that there is chances again, and that the key is to listen to your gut.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No lie. My intuition when I was married to Brian, I could drop names, cousins, people that did his hair, and right there, it was the whole time. And I remember pulling that list out of that backpack, and I'm like, and I called him, I said, please tell me this is not what I think it is. Sure enough, it was.
I mean, the fact that you keep a list right there is evil in itself. It's just pure evil.
It's like he really wanted her
It
to
was almost
know.
like he wanted
Just
her to
wanted,
know.
wow.
But intuition, that gut intuition's never ever steered me wrong. Go with it. And if you, I know leaving sometimes is the worst part of it and the most dangerous. You'd have to make moves in silence.
Okay.
Well, Amanda, why don't you give us your social media handles?
TikTok is a golden way. My
Okay.
Instagram is Amanda Golden 24K, or it's a Golden 24K.
That's all right. I will have this in the description for you guys too. So make sure
Okay.
you give her a follow. Her stuff is fantastic. Like I said, this was something I sent Missy right off the bat and said, hey, let's try to get her on. I think I left you a couple comments for a little while there, and you kept liking them. I'm like, no. I was like, reply. And so then I've seen, oh, she's got that email. So that's when I sent you the email. And so we're very happy that you came on for sure. Thank you for sharing this.
It's a hard testimony for sure, but if you guys want wisdom and knowledge on how to handle abusive narcissistic relationships, definitely go to her TikTok. I definitely see you helping lots of people, and I pray that God can continue to work through you and your family and heal that brokenness and abuse that, you guys have all endured, and that somebody listening, that they can know their worth,
That's right.
that everything that you are, that Christ, died for you, that you are worthy, that you don't have to listen to someone abuse you and talk to you.
When you know your worth in Christ, you
are.
realize that He is everything that you aren't, but you have Him.
Even when you think He's not there, He's there.
He's right with you.
Yeah, she's a testimony to
100%.
that,
She's a
because
great
where you're at,
testimony.
and I think still what God is going to do in you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're excited to see that. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and sign out here. Again, I don't know how to sign these things out, so we're going to cue the music, and we will see you guys later.
Yeah, see you later.
If you are experiencing abuse, please know your safety matters, and we strongly encourage you to reach out for immediate help. You can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE or visit thehotline.org for confidential support 24/7, and there are going to be people there ready to listen and help you. But even more, remember where your ultimate help comes from. Scripture reminds us in 2 Samuel 22:2, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. God sees you. He is not distant from your pain. He is your rock when everything feels unstable, your fortress when you need protection, and your deliverer when you feel trapped. Cry out to Him. Reaching out for help is not a lack of faith. It can be an act of faith.